Hello, I'm Sean. Since the beta, I have added normal game theme, boss theme, melee enemy attack, ranged enemy attack, boss enemy attack, new footsteps for melee and ranged. I have added hit for the enemies when hit by player attack for the melee, ranged, and boss. I have also added pickup sound effects for each of the elements in the video game. Fire, ice, lightning, metal, plant, rock, tornado, water. I have added attack hits for each of the elements. Fire, ice, lightning, metal, plant, rockfall, tornado, water. I've also attack started for fire, ice, lightning, metal, plant, tornado, and water. For rockfall, there is no attack started, as the rock gets instantiated in the air and it landing on the ground makes for a better effect. I've added as well player death and player hit for when the player dies and whenever the player takes damage from enemies respectively. All of these are created myself using Audacity recording or recording with my phone. The music was created in Púca Studios. Here's the boss theme. All of these sound effects have been implemented through code, as shown here for the player health, for the player taking damage, the player dying, for the boss attack, the enemy attack, ranged enemy attack, the enemy taking damage. Also, for the music, instead of doing it through code, I've changed it to a game object with the musics each being separated out into their own event instance instead of just being references of one event instance, as there was issues with getting it working consistently and with overlapping instances of game music. I have also, since beta, went through and added room prefabs for the pickups so that the element pickups can be randomly generated, and they are randomly generated through Ethan script. I just assigned them all and also updated the prefabs on this. So I updated the house prefabs into the Unity as well as laying everything out again. I also added better borders, so there was hopefully less issue with getting stuck on these overhangs. Also just showing an example of the dead end. I also implemented the blocker. Well, it's the hallway, but same thing. Off blockers, so there's walls blocking you instead of just white cubes. It's been a learning experience during this time, and as far as my memory serves, that's all I did for integrating sins. There might be the odd bits. I'm just after remembering the tutorial I improved. I will pull it up here. Where is it? One thing I've learned, we need to learn how to organize this better. Yeah, so as an example for the tutorial, before it was a block of text here on the top left hand side of the spawn room. Now I've decreased it to WASD to move. Then once the player walks over to here, you get a pop-up on the right hand side of the screen saying E to pick up. Once you've picked up, the arrow pointing through the exit of the room pops up with the text on it so that the player gets, this is my casting button, and I can move on to the rest of the game. I also assigned the prefabs to the rune spawners for the 4 junctions as well as the dead ends, with extra of the non-pickup rooms so that they're not always guaranteed, though they can definitely show up. Just want to add on a addendum to what I've gained during beta as well, is I've gained a better understanding of how I need to project manage and lead teams. I've learned a lot about timelines, keeping to schedules instead of just having you set one big deadline that you need to go for. I need to do smaller goals to keep up momentum for people, to keep up consistency as well for work. I need to talk to people and see what's happening, if there's issues with being able to do work and whatnot, so that the scope of the project can be kept realistic for what people are able to do, and so that no matter what situation teams may end up with, we can always put our best foot forward. And I have learned so much thanks to being able to be project lead for this project. I've also learned a lot from being able to do sound design. I've been able to reinforce my knowledge of sound design. I've got to be able to have fun making new sound effects, music, and it's been an amazing year. Thank you very much.